Setenil de las Bodegas in Spain brings a whole new meaning to the term living under a rock. While this town of 3,000 may literally be under a rock, the town itself is inspiring, full of history, and very current on many tourist directories. The reason for settling under a rock actually has really practical origins. It's almost as interesting as how this floating city of Gonvai came to be. The caves and rocks have revealed artifacts that prove they're about 5,000 years old. For at least this long, the people of this small village in Andalusia have been using the overhang of the rock as shelter. Further to this, they also used to store produce and food under the rocks to keep them cool and extend their shelf life. Rather than needing to build entire houses to stay cool in the summer, the residents could build simple facades. Because of this, historians estimate people have been living here since prehistoric times. The town's name, Setenil de las Bodegas, reveals its rich history and even its struggles for independence. Setenil comes from the Latin words septem nihil, which means 7 times no. This is in reference to the 7 times the Catholic rulers tried to take back the territory from the Moors. Only on the 7th attempt to conquer Setenil were the Catholics successful. In later times, following their occupation by the Catholics, the residents began to use the cool areas under the rocks to store produce and create large storerooms. This is how the town came to the second part of the name, bodegas. This translates to warehouse in Spanish. One of the most popular Pueblo Blancos in the area, this white town, is a hit with many discerning tourists. The strange rock buildings and the houses made of caves are among the most alluring attractions in Andalusia. The Andalusian town of Setenil de las Bodegas looks like something from the set of a culturally adventurous fantasy film, but cave dwelling is actually common in Andalusia. Being so close to the African continental plate, geological forces threw up mountain ranges and volcanoes that are perfectly suited for habitation. The rocks and caves make for surprisingly easy settlement, and the nearby Cueva de la Pileta shows evidence of a human presence up to 25,000 years ago. After that, though, the inhabitants of the caves here are mostly ignored up until the 12th century, when Setenil's Moorish castle appears on the historical record. More comprehensive use of the geology as a place to live only appears in Moorish Spain, rather than earlier, though it's easy to assume this living arrangement was a local tradition that the Moors imitated. It's actually a survivor of a much older Arabic tradition of underground and cave dwelling, a strategy to compensate for the extreme heat in parts of the Arabic world. It's understandable that the tradition survived past the end of Muslim rule, too. Caves are cheap to make habitable, climate-controlled, unlikely to burn down, earthquake-resistant, and, due to their 1,000-year history in Arabic cultures, are usually converted by people who know how to use light wells or purpose-built light ducts, making the most of the available light with techniques such as white wall finishes. Building in and around these huge outcroppings of rock may seem outlandish, but really it's a very practical decision taken by people who understood how best to take advantage of this terrain. Given the unfortunately hostile relations between medieval Islamic Spain and its northern, Christian neighbors, it was also very important strategically. The 12th century castle at the top of the town was referred to as nigh impregnable by contemporary Catholic chroniclers, and blocked the Christian advance to Granada for about 50 years. Although Setenil often attracts attention and tourism for its spectacular setting, it teaches us an important lesson thanks to how normally the town, and other cave dwellings in the area, are treated by the inhabitants. These incredibly efficient, low-impact dwellings have been in use for 500 years or longer, and are a wonderful example of how a feature that would normally impede settlement can be turned into a huge advantage for those who live there. There are 2 main streets to explore, Sun Street and Shade Street, which run parallel to each other on the banks of the River Guadalporcan that runs through the town. It's astonishing looking at the homes sculpted directly in the rock. They are not actually carved into the rock. Instead, people have built just a front wall, a facade under the natural overhang with the caves forming the interiors of their homes. Sun Street is lined with various restaurants and tapas bars. The rock is their ceilings and walls. We thought some of the bars looked like pubs straight from medieval times. Along the way, it's a delight just wandering the narrow streets. Every nook and cranny has been filled with a home. Buildings are painted white to reflect the scorching summer sun to keep temperatures inside cool. The quirky homes are so picturesque, especially with potted geraniums decorating doorways. One of the top things to do in Setenil de las Bodegas is to visit the remains of the historical Arab castle from the 12th century. Named Nazari Castle, it was once very impressive and had around 40 towers. During the period of Reconquista between the Moors and Christians, it's said it took the Christians 15 days to capture the castle and over 7 attempts to take back the village. Most travelers make their way to Setenil de las Bodegas for the rocky setting. Boulders hang precariously between many of the winding streets, often creating natural roofs for the homes and stores. Most amazingly, one large overhang covers an entire block of white houses, providing shade and natural cooling during warm summers in southern Spain. Even more remarkable are homes built on top of the overhang, giving the town layers of houses separated by natural rock formation. On a walk through the town, the cliffs and homes work together so naturally, it is difficult to see whether the town formed around the boulders and vice versa. The town of Setenil de las Bodegas may be small, but it packs a punch in terms of its rich history and culture. The numerous museums feature items ranging from local artifacts to Roman coins and pottery fragments dating back centuries before the Romans. Art galleries abound with works by talented local artists as well as photographers. Those looking for outdoor adventure have plenty to choose from. Hike along riversides or through olive groves that lead to ancient sites such as castles and watchtowers built hundreds of years ago. Setenil de las Bodegas in Spain is a small town located right at the center of Andalusia, and it's popular for its spectacular views as well as amazing wineries. If you are keen on having an awesome, special wine tasting experience, then Setenil de las Bodegas should be your go-to destination. This place has some of the very best wineries all across the country with innumerable flavors to pick from. When taking a trip to Setenil de las Bodegas, you ought to keep both local climate together with geography into account while deciding which wines to select. How great would that be? The climate in Spain is perfect for growing some of its best white wines, like Albarino and Verdejo. Even the reds such as Tempranillo benefit from cooler nights which bring out those deep fruity flavors. Going wine tasting in Setenil de las Bodegas has even more benefits. Many wineries are perched on hillsides with stunning views of valleys or riverside vineyards, so you can sip your Spanish vino while enjoying an incredible view. What a treat! When it comes to exploring during your stay, there are plenty of opportunities and footpaths that offer stunning views over rolling hills covered in vines, stretches of olive groves, and vineyards. Perfect for taking photos. If you want something new on the table as well, then this is where local wineries come into play, offering a wide range from oak-aged whites through aromatic roses right up to full-bodied red wines like Rioja or Ribera del Duero. You can take tours around their cellars too if you're interested, which may give an insight on how different wines were made, starting out with harvesting grapes until bottling them ready for sale. And no traditional Spanish experience would be complete without tapas, so why not enjoy some delicious food alongside your favorite tipple? Visiting Setenil de las Bodegas, Spain is bound to give you a truly memorable experience. From gorgeous natural landscapes to its dynamic history, there really is something for everyone. Perhaps one of the most engaging cultural activities during your visit here will be exploring extraordinary architecture that this village has on offer. Set into rocky cliffs along a river gorge with beautiful whitewashed homes carved from sandstone boulders protruding out from the cliffside. It's unlike any other destination. What an amazing sight! Experiencing the local culture while you're in Setenil is easy. From Semana Santa, Holy Week, to Feria Nacional de San Isidro, National Fair, there are plenty of festivals throughout the year that will let you mingle with locals and learn about their customs. It's a great way to enjoy yourself too. Concerts, parades, bullfights, and more. No matter what activities catch your eye during your stay here, one thing is for sure: it'll be an unforgettable cultural experience like no other.